Scooby Doo and the Mysterious Amulet. Not long ago, in 2018, Scooby's friends, Daphne, Fred, Velma, as well as Shaggy all graduated from Coolsville High School. They graduated college in 2022. Except for Velma, who graduated from high school this year. With that being said, the gang have been apart for years looking for jobs to help their community. Accident-prone Shaggy, on the other hand, who's now a 22-year-old man who has found a girlfriend named Nancy Starlet during college. He invited her over to his dorm in college to meet his younger brothers. Strange, huh? How can his younger brothers be in college already? Read along with me and you'll find out. It's going to get bumpy, so continue to listen as I read. Like Shaggy, they have nicknames too that they like to go by. The middle child is nicknamed Snotty Rogers. His name is Dorville Rogers. He was named after his great-grandfather who passed away this May from old age. He was 103 when he died. When he was a young boy, he had a dream of becoming a fisherman. His mother was strict and wanted him to throw away his dreams. She wanted her son to become a librarian at an early age and read books all day. But he was bored of the same thing. He was born on June 21, 1918. But as he grew up, he found out that his father had a thing for fishing every night too, which made them become very close. Dorville became older and became the grandfather of Shaggy's mother, Amy Rogers. He was also the parental guardian who raised Amy Rogers when she was a little girl. Her parents were drug addicts and were never in her life. The younger child is Weirdo Rogers. His name is Parrish Rogers. The Rogers family have a dark backstory to unfold. Sit back, relax, I'm done interrupting. Hear me out. One fine morning, their leader, Fred, felt lonely sitting in his chamber at work. He was also 22 years old, tired, and sweaty from working with construction. He called Daphne asking if they could meet up. She agreed, as well as Velma. Ever since the gang graduated, it was their first time they got together in years since they separated. Fred and the gang went to an old hag's home who greeted them with kindness and care. She had a wooden leg and was very, very old. The old hag was wearing a blue amulet. There, Scooby was given the necklace. He accidentally sent a dark spirit inside of it unknowingly through a ritual, unknown to his best friend's whereabouts. During the night, Scooby woke up wincing in pain because of scratch marks. He refused to tell the gang because he was worried that he might alarm everyone, including Shaggy. The old hag invited over two men to her home to drive the evil entity away from Scooby through a ritual. Shaggy was crying and concerned for his best friend while he was holding his paw. When everyone found out that it didn't work, they were worried and a little bit mad. It was like an evil spirit attached onto the dog. After the ritual that night, Shaggy couldn't sleep without having thoughts running through his head. He broke up with his girlfriend over text to save his friend. He was willing to make a sacrifice. He would have been called selfish if he chose a girl over his best friend. And so he went, preparing to battle whatever evil that was willing to hurt Scooby Doo. Nancy and Shaggy were only dating because she liked eating food as well and that she was a blonde slob. But he knew now deep in his heart, looks weren't the way to get a woman, it was the personality. He only knew her for a short time. He felt that his eyes opened for the first time. Scooby came to Shaggy, noticing his distraught best friend. He sat next to him and offered a couple of Scooby snacks. Scooby told Shaggy that he was hungry and wanted to get something from the kitchen fridge. Shaggy comforted Scooby. He told him that he will be okay and that whatever is hurting him, he'll make sure that it disappears and never returns. If it was gonna hurt his friends too, he was going to make more than one sacrifice. He was always known for being the scaredy cat and devoted adult. But now, his time has come to be brave, a feeling that he's never had to experience before. He can't hide anymore, not if his friends are in danger, not if a failed ritual went wrong. Not now. It was going to be now, or never. He was going to risk everything just for Scooby and the gang to be safe. They were his family, and he understood that if they were in trouble, he would release his instinct power on any threat, but if he didn't use it correctly, it'll turn against him. Both of the boys ate and went upstairs with the others for the overnight stay. What they didn't know is that they had already unleashed a dark force into their world. The next day, Daphne noticed that the chairs looked weird. They were not sitting in the same position as they were yesterday. Velma examined the chairs and table. "Well, this is strange," Shaggy said. "Last time we were in here, the chairs weren't in that position." "Sounds like another mystery, huh gang?" said Fred as he smiled at his thought. He couldn't wait to build traps, let alone it was a real ghost. Fred noticed Scooby was wearing the blue amulet and took it off. As soon as he did that, the lights went out and the doors started opening on their own. Shaggy and Scooby were so scared that they ran off screaming, hiding under the blankets together. "Why does every time we solve a mystery something spooky has to happen, dude? Can we just get a day where there aren't any monsters or creeps?" Shaggy cries out in fear while trembling. Fred comes to comfort Shaggy. "Relax, Shaggy. Mysteries are supposed to be scary, you know that." Shaggy calms down and says, "Sorry, it's been a while since we hanged out." Fred calls out to the gang saying, "Come on, let's go." Scooby says, in fear, "Scary monsters." Shaggy says, comforting him, "Don't worry, Scooby. We'll be fine. Trust me." It was not long until they all got in the mystery machine to go and solve the mystery after so many years. When they reached the park, they all went to investigate. It wasn't long until Shaggy met eyes with his father. Cold-hearted, Ethan Rogers came up to his son holding a large axe. His eyes were burning with pure evil and rage. Whatever it was, he was so angry. He was so hot-headed that he had an empty beer in his hand. He came up to his son Shaggy and yelled at him for leaving and not saying the word while he was away in college. He asked him why he took his siblings with him instead of leaving them at home. He tried to guilt-trip him, but Shaggy wasn't holding back. Shaggy and the gang did not realize that they were going to get a surprise from Amy Rogers, an angry, overprotective mother who is now dead, who will return from the dead. "Dad, I want nothing to do with you. I know what you did to my mom. You can't hide that anymore," Shaggy yelled while becoming agitated. Fred pulled Shaggy back so he wouldn't get hurt. Shaggy looked at Fred and said, "That's my father. I still love him. But I won't love a murderer." Ethan sat up, making himself look tougher. "Son, let me explain," said the elderly man as he was about to hurt his friends. "No. You did this. You manipulated Mom until she died. You poisoned her to death and called me weak. You lied about everything. I wish you were never my father. You have so much to pay for." In a fit of rage, Shaggy kicked his father down the stairs. He noticed his father's chest was bleeding after they got into a physical fight. The last thing Shaggy saw was Scooby coming over to him, worried and concerned. Shaggy told his best friend to get the others before he was knocked unconscious by his father's metal axe. Amy's spirit had enough, and showed itself to her husband. First it was just darkness. "Ethan, how dare you touch Norville? You fool. You dare to treat him the way you've done to me? He's not a weak, you are. You are a coward," said an angry Amy with glowing eyes as she grabbed him by the shirt. "Please don't hurt me. I would do anything for you, please don't. Amy. I love you. I was just drunk. Please. I've had home problems as a child. Before Ethan could finish, Amy stopped him and said, "If you want me to believe you, then you're going to have to earn it, now that the spiritual ritual had brought me here. I can finally finish what you made me end. I should have grabbed the poison and killed you instead. Ethan. My husband. Or should I say, my ex-husband." Amy cackled while flying around. "You won't get away with this, you witch." Amy felt hurt by this. She only came for revenge, but now that she's a living vessel, she's a dark figure that is out for human flesh, her husband. She only wanted to protect her 3 sons. Shaggy awoke to nothing but darkness. There was a pregnant woman standing in front of him. She was a glowing green ghost. She had emotions that the dog had never saw before: rage, revenge, envy. She was envious of her son for living a life she never had. She wanted revenge on her husband for ending her life so soon. She was a teenager when she gave birth to her elder son, Norville, known as just Shaggy by friends. This woman that Scooby and Shaggy was seeing were Amy Rogers, the mother of Shaggy, and his brothers, Dorville, Parrish Rogers. Dorville Rogers was named after his great-grandfather who passed away in 2022 this May. Parrish is the 3rd child of the Rogers. Originally, he was going to be an older brother to a baby brother who was killed with his mother by his father by a gun. It was told by Shaggy's father that she was killed by the hand of his gun when he was 10 years old, traumatizing all of his younger siblings, including himself. It traumatized the boy so much that he wanted to change his name from Norville to Shaggy. Shaggy became overprotective over the years, hiding his younger siblings and raising them because of their abusive father. Their father was a tyrant who was selfish, who cared about no one but himself. His name was Ethan Rogers. He was always this heavy drinker who never watched for his sons, making Shaggy the parent of the house when he was preparing to go to college during his high school years. He took his younger brothers with him and they are now teenagers while he is an adult. Back to the previous day. Scooby was speaking to Amy, Shaggy's mother, the mom of her younger sons. She had light purple glowing eyes. She also shared her eldest son's short hair. She wore a yellow t-shirt with no pants on. She had brunette short hair. She had scars and large black eyes. She seemed annoyed in Scooby's eyes, but her rage for her husband taking her life disappeared as soon as she felt Scooby. When she touched the large dog, she felt her unborn baby's spirit who died with her when she was murdered by her husband Ethan. It was almost like she felt her son was reincarnated as a dog and went to have a life with his brother. Amy told Scooby that she's proud and will always be. Tears were forming in the dog's eyes. Amy held the dog close and noticed her elder son coming to her. For the first time in years, mother and son embraced even if she was not there truly. "Norville. I miss you, baby. I really do. I just want to be there for you. Don't be mad at your father, honey," the young woman said as she noticed tears coming in her son's eyes. Shaggy was crying as he was hugging onto the ghost. "Zoinks. Mom. Like, how could it be you? You're supposed to be dead." Lovingly, Amy held her son while sitting him up in the grass with Scooby. She started speaking again and felt a little envious of her son, but accepted that she was dead and couldn't do anything now. "Norville, when I look at you, I see myself, honey. I see how I was like you. I felt that no one wouldn't like me too, sweetie. But you proved them wrong for me. Don't be mad at your father, it's not worth it." Shaggy nodded his head and said nothing. The green glowing ghost went inside her husband, possessing him. Ethan was controlled by his wife as an act of revenge. His eyes were glowing green and he looked more intimidating and old from drinking recently. This gave Shaggy and Scooby and the gang a chance to call the police. By the time the police arrived, Amy was not done. She had unfinished business. The police arrested the man for child abuse and battery, as well as the murder of his wife. But she wasn't done yet. She was about to possess Scooby so she could live freely inside of him. "I'm sorry, Norville, honey, but this is my life now. And when you die, you'll be just like Mommy." She cackled, grabbing the amulet as it turned emerald green. Shaggy grabbed the amulet with his grappling hook as he smashed it into pieces. Amy was gone out of sight, and the curse broke. Shaggy felt like a hero and went home with his friends. The gang had cake and celebrated all night. The gang were finished with their confusing case and went back home. Next story. Scooby Doo and the Generations of Mystery Incorporated. One night, at a local hospital Coolsville, a woman was giving birth and pressuring herself. She had no one there to guide her, only for the nurses. If she died, she would want her baby to have a better life. After she pushed out the baby, there was so much blood that she passed away from too much blood loss. Luckily, her baby girl survived. No one wanted to raise her, so her family threw her out. One day, Scooby and the gang were in their clubhouse relaxing. That was until Fred and the gang heard a baby crying. Shaggy was the first one to hear the sound. As he walked closer, he noticed a baby crying. It had a tag on its shirt, it had a smelly diaper, and it had been crying for hours. It was the same baby that got thrown out. Jinkies. How could anyone do this to a baby? Velma said as she picked up the baby. Shaggy gently held the baby's head up and said, "Some parents they are." Papers were on the ground as well. Fred picked up the papers and read the script. The whole gang felt sorry. The baby was an orphanage. Her mother had died after giving birth to her. Shaggy was determined to raise her. It was what his mom would want him to do in the future. The baby was named Allison Rogers. In the year of 2027, Allison turned 5 years old. She became clingy around her father and would cry for him every night. Something about her made him think about his mother, but he just had to let that go. She was gone, and nothing could bring her back. "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" "Daddy's here," said Shaggy as he held his daughter close. She wore a green glitter shirt and had mixed brunette hair with red dye in it. Shaggy was 27 years old now. He loved the girl even since he found her abandoned with no family. "Daddy, I wanna go with you." Shaggy couldn't help but bite his lips. What would the community think if they found out that he was raising the poor girl? Would they come after him, or her? Shaggy turned to his daughter and kneeled down to her level. "Honey, I'm sorry, but I'm really not sure if you can come with me yet. Maybe when you're older, Pumpkin, okay?" Allison began to cry after she heard this. She loved her father so much. He was close to her. "Daddy, don't go. I want to play dress up with you. I promise you. You can be the king." Shaggy picked up his daughter and held her in his arms. "Change of plans, you can come. I'm not leaving my little Stardust here alone," Shaggy said as he walked out the door. When the gang headed into town, Allison was riding on Scooby's back. They were having so much fun, laughing and having fun. A parade was held and the gang came to celebrate. When it was time to take a picture, Scooby got distracted by a baby bird that was about to fall out of the tree. Scooby ran into the streets. Shaggy screamed no, in horror. He witnessed his best friend getting run over and killed. Days later, Scooby's funeral was held. Shaggy became depressed. He felt like he couldn't take it anymore, full of guilt. He lied down in his bed staring out the window. Allison came into the room and sat by Shaggy. "I'm sorry about Uncle Scooby, Daddy. Is anything I can do?" Shaggy stared at his daughter still crying. He was happy that she was alive, but Scooby made a sacrifice in saving a little bird. He didn't have time to mourn over his best friend's death. He had to raise a daughter. In the year of 2050, Shaggy was becoming old and tired. Fred retired from Mystery Inc. to take care of his son Fraser Jones, who was now 33 years old. "Dad? Are you okay?" Allison said, running to her father's side. Yes, thank you, Eli, thank you, sweetheart," said Shaggy as he smiled at his girl. "I would like a sandwich and a few Scooby snacks, honey." Allison got excited and said, "You know the drill, Pops." She gave him a sandwich and Scooby snacks. Shaggy turned 51 in October. His hair was starting to become gray, he was starting to become more forgetful. One day, his nephew Fraser came around. "Hi, Uncle Shaggy," said an excited Fraser as he came and gave his uncle a hug. "Zoinks! Thank you for the hug, my favorite nephew," Fraser said. "No problem." The gang huddled together in their photo with their mystery kids. Shaggy felt a little sad that Scooby wasn't there, but had to be happy that he had his family. He was married to Daphne, who he had a crush on for a very long time, but was afraid to admit because of being rejected like all of the other women had did to him. The end.